Welcome to my new duel school. So, with this duel school, I'm going to show you how to play Yu-Gi-Oh! For those who are curious and or have nothing else to do, like me, which is why I'm doing this to begin with. I am here to show you how to play Yu-Gi-Oh! So, we're going to go in easy and just focus on the cards instead of other things for now. So right now we're just going to focus on cards and their different types. So in Yu-Gi-Oh! The three main types are monsters, if I scroll by, spell cards, and trap cards. They can be tell differently easily by just their colors. So monsters usually have this kind of brownish, well, effect monsters. Normal monsters usually have a whiteness to them. The only difference between these two monsters, just to get out of the way, these monsters have, right here, their typing, and it says effect, where they actually have an effect. This one gains 200 attack for each elemental hero monster you control. So this monster technically can gain 800 from its own effect. These are normal monsters where they don't have effect, but they do have kind of like a text at the bottom. Oh, let me focus. They do have a text at the bottom. This one says the legendary dragon is a powerful engine of destruction, virtually invincible. Very few have faced this awesome creature and lived to tell the tale. So, yeah, they just have text, like lore behind them, but they don't have an effect like this guy. These effect monsters are usually played more, but there's sometimes these are actually playable because they're actually valuable, like the Blue Eyes White Dragon. The most commonly known Yu-Gi-Oh card is a dragon with 3,000 and 2,500 attack, or 3,000 attack and 2,500 defense. Virtually the most powerfulest normal monster. It's a different story with effect monsters, but yeah. So you can probably already tell the difference between these two monsters. Not only the borders and their names, they are of different types. So just think of like earth, water, dark. As we'll see with these, they have their different elements. So it's just normal, like light, heat, fire, wind, earth, water. Nothing really different from what you probably already know. It can make a huge difference in certain decks, but mainly it doesn't really make a difference. But you do need to keep in track of that. So, another thing you probably notice is these stars at the top. No, those aren't Dragon Balls, they're levels for the monsters. So, level 4 and below. So, with levels, it's kind of dependent. Some monsters with the levels are used for different things, but we'll talk about that later. For summoning your monsters, levels 4 and below can be just summoned out. So if you have this in your hand, you can just summon it out normally. That's a normal summon. But with cards like the Blue Eyes White Dragon, if its levels are 7 and 8, which this card is level 8, you need to tribute to monsters. So let's say I have these two monsters on the field and I have my Blue Eyes in hand. So I tribute them, send them to the graveyard, and summon them out. The thing is about tribute summoning, it counts as a normal summon, and you can normal once. So you're gonna have to normal this guy, wait to your next turn, then summon another monster, wait, then the next turn tribute for that guy. There's obviously ways to get it out faster, but we're not talking about that right now. We're just talking about normal summoning Yu-Gi-Oh! So every monster is of course different, with different attack and defense and different effects. So attack is like this. Attack, let's say my opponent has this monster in defense mode. We'll talk about defense mode later. You attack, and whichever has the less defense loses. So you use the defense of this guy when he's in defense mode. 1,600. Oh, sorry, my camera needed to keep up. But 1,600 defense. He is attacking, so you use his attack points, which is 3,000. So when you attack it, it destroys it. But let's say my opponent has the blue eyes and I have gear free, and I attack into his blue eyes. Since I have the less number, I lose and this monster gets destroyed, and I take the damage equal to the difference. So what I forgot to mention was Yu-Gi-Oh has life points. You start the game with 8,000 life points. That's why these monsters kind of have like high attacks in a thousands kind of way. So if my opponent had no monsters and I attack them directly, they'll take the full 18,000. But if my opponent has gear free and I have the blue eyes and I attack into gear free, they take the damage equal to the difference, which would be, if my math is correct, 1,200. Would you look at that? There we go. And that's basically basic Yu-Gi-Oh! Summoning, attacking. Oh, just to make sure, say like my opponent has the blue eyes in defense mode, and I have gear free, and I attack into the blue eyes. Now we count his blue eyes as defense, 2,500. Gear free's attack is 1,800. Gear free doesn't get destroyed, and the blue eyes doesn't get destroyed, but you take the damage equal to the difference. If it's still in attack mode and I attack straight into it, then I'll take the damage and it get destroyed. But since it was defense mode, I don't take it. Here we have some examples of different types of monsters. Summoner Monk, Spellcaster. Unlike Elemental Hero Heat, which is a pyro, Gear Free it's a warrior, Blue Eyes is a dragon. I can't recite all of the different monster types, but there's a lot. Like Machine, like see Pyro, Fiend, which we'll see. Spellcaster, Machine. As you can see, this guy has less of a level, also less attack, but as an effect, that's actually really good. That works in combos that we'll talk about later. Here we have Duza, Machine, effect, and it is a light. Here we have Crimson Nova. It's a fiend, dark. As you notice, it has 3,000 attack and 0 defense. Endoria Doomvault, 0 attack, 0 defense, a light, level 4 monster. Fairy, this one. So that's just like the different types of monsters. There's plenty of more different monsters. If you have any questions, I'll of course answer them in the comments below. Just ask them. I'll probably answer them in another duel video or duel school, or I'll just reply to them. So next thing we're going to talk about is spell cards. So the thing is about spell cards, they are spell cards, yes, but there's different types of spell cards. So let's say we have Reinforcement of the Army. It's a spell card, of course, and its effect is add 1 level 4 or lower warrior from your deck to your hand, which is actually a very used spell card. So how you use a spell card, you just activate it, then use its effect. Grab a level 4 lower warrior. Let's see, do you have a warrior? Oh, we do have a warrior. Gear free. Now we just add it to our hand and we just put this in the graveyard. There we go. We just used a regular spell card. So there's also that cross right there. It means equip. We'll talk about that in a bit. The Ninja Star means field spell. The fire means ritual or ritual spell card. That kind of flash looking symbol, that is a quick play spell. This can be used during your opponent's turn, from the hand or face down in the field, which we'll talk about later. The affinity symbol means it's continuous. We'll talk about that. And we got a normal spell card. Another normal spell card. So let's see what we can do with Salamandra. Whoops. Can't say names correctly. Alright, so Salamandra's effect is equip only to a fire monster against 700 attack. So I normal my elemental hero heat, then I activate Salamandra to equip it to him, and since he is a fire monster, he now gains 700 attack. Now, with equips, they stay on the field, unlike normal spells where you use them. Sorry, I ran out of storage for the recording, but what I said was, you can, unlike normal spell cards, you use them, they go to the grave. With spell cards, they equip and stay on the field, unless the card that it was equipped to is destroyed, then it gets destroyed with it. Or the equipped card is destroyed first, then it leaves the field. So now, we're going to talk about continuous spell cards, which are the ones with the infinity symbol. Let me focus. Right there. Well, you get the idea. So with continuous spell cards, you play them like a normal spell card, and they stay on the field. They don't leave. They don't need another monster to stay on the field. As long as they are not destroyed, they stay on the field. Whoops. There we go. There we go. Sorry about that. The lights just fell for a bit. But, like I said, when you activate it, they stay on the field until they are destroyed. So, they're just normal spell cards that you can activate their effects like normal, and they stay on the field. So, let me look at field spells. So, for field spells, there is a corner to the field where field spells kind of live. So with field spells, they kind of change the whole playing field. So you activate them, and whatever their effects are, happen. It's kind of like a continuous spell card, but in their own zone. So with field spells, like I said, it has the ninja star kind of symbol. Let me see if I can get this one to focus. There we go, the ninja star symbol. And with this one tip of the mind's eye, any battle damage to a player takes becomes 1,000. So, say I get attacked by Gearfree the Iron Knight, and I have no monsters, but I have the field spell. He attacks me directly, so I would take 1,800, but because of Temple of the Mind's Eye, I just take 1,000. Which reduces the damage for me. But it could also work against me. So say I have Summoner Monk. Not Summoner Monk, because they have the same attack. Not the same attack. Here. Say I have Duza, the meter cubic vessel, which attack is 1,600, and Gearfried attacks me with 1,800. Normally, I would take 200 damage. But since I have the field spell out, I take 1,000, so it works against me. But that's how field spells work. They're simple, they have their own zone, pretty straightforward. If you need more help, I'll tell you. So what else? Continuous, normal, quick play, and ritual. So, with quick play spells, say like it's your opponent's turn, you can activate the spell card on their turn. The reason why this is so special, because field or spell cards in general can only be activated in your turn. That's why if you have a spell card, activate it, you can only use it on your turn. But with quick play, which is what it means when it has the symbol, it can be activated during your opponent's turn. So this card, Twin Twisters, discard 1 card, to target up to 2 spells and traps on the field, destroy them. So you can activate in your opponent's turn, you can just wait, activate it, discard, then destroy the 2 spells and traps. Or what you can do is set it face down, then say I place 2 traps face down. My opponent or me, or my opponent says 2 face downs. I can then flip it over, activate it, discard a card, then destroy this 2 spells and traps. It's kind of like a trap in a way, which is what we're going to talk about soon. But yeah, that's a quick play spell. They're faster than normal spells, basically. Since they're faster. Quick play, I guess, yeah. So, ritual spell cards. Ritual spell cards, of course, have the flame symbol. But with ritual spell cards, they are used to summon another monster that is a ritual monster, which I will get right now. So here we have a ritual monster. It is usually looks like this, blue, level. They still have the same thing of a normal monster, like this guy. But as you can see, this guy is a warrior and a ritual, which means this is a ritual monster. So this guy, you can only ritual summon this card with Black Luster Ritual, which is what we have. So with ritual summoning, what you do is you activate it like a normal spell card. Then, how the ritual summon is, you need to use monsters with equal or more level than the monster you're trying to summon. So this card says this card can only use to ritual summon Black Luster Soldier. You also gotta have the ritual monster in your hand, but you must also tribute monsters from your hand or field whose total level equals 8 or more. So we got 2 level 4s, so 2 level 4s equal 8. So now we sacrifice them by sending them into the graveyard. They don't need to be on the field, but you can use monsters on the field. But you can also use them from the hand, so you don't have to waste normal summons or special summons, which we'll talk about more later. So you can use them from hand, send them to the graveyard, then special, your monster out. Then it's in a normal spell card, so it gets sent to the graveyard, and you have a monster that was ritual summoned. Now that it's a ritual spell card that summons a ritual monster, which is another type of monster, which we'll talk about more later. So now we're going to talk about traps. So traps, there's the normal trap cards right here. So the thing about traps is you set them face down on the field, then you wait, then on your opponent's turn you can activate them. You cannot activate them on your turn, the turn you set them, so you must wait to activate them. That's why they're traps. You gotta set them, wait, and or activate it in your opponent's turn, or just keep them as traps and use them to, you know, turn the playing field or something. So there's continuous traps, which are basically like continuous spell cards, where if you set them down, you still have to set them down, activate them, and they still stay in the field. Normal trap cards, when you activate them, they have to go to the grave like anything normal, but these stay. There are also counter traps, and counter traps are faster than normal spells. So if I activate this spell card, I can activate this trap card to counter it, to like negate it or activate an effect faster than this. So even though I activate this first, this is faster, so this gets first priority, kind of in a way. That's why it's called a counter trap. But what this does, say like my opponent activates a spell card or a trap card, this card allows me to chain or counter it, and this card negates the trap card and place it face down. So I negate it, it doesn't activate, and it gets placed back face down. That's basically what a counter trap kind of is. If you want to know more about it, I'll say in the next time. So these both are continuous trap cards. This one's a little different though. because this one, set it face down, like I said, activate it, it stays on the field. This one is a kind of equip trap card, where, say like I have a monster, let's say I have my virtual summon Black Luster Soldier. I can activate the trap card to equip it to him like a trap card, but it stays on the field, and again, and whatever it says happens. So what this card says, well, activate this by targeting one face-up monster on the field. It gains 800 attack. Also, if this card will be destroyed by battle, or a card effect, you can destroy this card instead, and when it leaves the field, destroy this card. You can match this card from your to target one phantom knight card. Okay, it doesn't really matter, but it's kind of like an equip in a way, but it is a continuous trap card that gives the monster attack. So it's kind of like an equip card, but not really. But you get it in a way, kind of. So are the main like traps. Counters, normals, and continuous. There's also traps that become monsters. So what this isn't one of them, but I'll do as an example. So how the field works, there's spells and traps, 5 of them below, and 5 monster zones. That's how the field works. So let's see. Let me fill the board. So this is what the field will look like. 5 spells and traps and 5 monster zones. That's how the field is. So you put your spells and traps behind here and your monsters up front. So what monster spell and traps do, what monster traps do is they activate and they actually become monsters, so they move up onto the field. Some trap monsters still are traps, so they still take up a spot in the field. But some of them don't, so they just become monsters at that point, and they don't take up a spot on the field. So you really have to keep track of the cards you have in the field and make sure you have the right ones, and you're not, you can crowd your board, but make sure you have space in case you want to do other things. What else? I guess that's really it, because we talked about the main stuff of spells and traps without actually going into effect monsters. It's just really the basics, and that's really it. If you want to learn more, and as this goes well, I'll teach more, but this is just we're not even learned the basics yet, really. We just learned the different cards and the very different cards there are in Yu-Gi-Oh! We haven't really gone into the depths of summoning, special summoning, and all of that. If you do want to know that, watch the video. I'll see the views, and I'll think about making a new one. Alright, have fun, keep safe out there. I'll see you